Hello my friends, today we're learning Daf Hayomi. So we're starting from the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, so Reuben comes to Shimon. Shimon has a field full of trees and he buys off him 2 trees. Says the Mishnah, Aryeh lo kono karka. So he only buys the trees, the karka underneath the trees are not part of the deal. And therefore, when the trees die, he needs to go. He can't replant them because he doesn't own the karka, only the trees. Rav Meir argues, kono karka, and he says, even if you buy 2 trees, you get the karka, and therefore if they die, you could replant them. Higdilu, if they became big, in lefishitas tanekama, that you're not koine karka, lo ishpe, the Shimon can't say, I want to cut the tree down, it's bigger than what it was, because the whole reason Reuben bought it was for the tree to grow, and therefore he's meshubot for the tree to grow, even though that's not good for Shimon that the sun comes less into his field. If from the tree, from on top of the earth, starts a new tree, it belongs to the one who bought the trees. If it comes out from where the roots are, from underneath the ground, a new tree comes, the dinner shel balakarka belongs to Shimon balakarka because it's the soil that made them grow. If these trees die, Eloi karka, as we said, he has to leave, he has no connection to the land. If he bought 3 trees, so even Tanakama in this case is moida the kona karka that he gets the land, and therefore dilu ishpe because he bought trees together of the land. If it expands from the land of the buyer, it goes now into Shimon, who's his other land, so he could say, please cut it, I'm cutting your tree, it's disturbing me. Now in this case, because the karkas his, doesn't matter if the new tree comes from the gather, doesn't matter if it comes from the roots, it belongs to Bala Ilonos who bought them. If the trees died, Yeshloi karka, and he could replant the trees. Now also, we learned over there is in Bikurim. Someone who buys 2 trees in his friend's field, maybe he brings Bikurim, that means the first fruit that grow, they have to take Bikurim to a Beis HaMikdash. You bring it to Beis HaMikdash, but you can't read the pasuk that when you bring Bikurim, because it said over there, Priya Domo Ashenosatoli, and this is not his land because he doesn't own karka. Rav Meir says, like we saw in our Mishnah, that you coin a karka, therefore maybe Bikurim, you also have to bring Bikurim, and you say the psukim Adom Ashenosatoli because it's his land. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, Mechayev or Rav Meir ach beloikeach peres min hashuk. Rav Meir, not only if you have 2 trees, even if you buy pears from the shuk, and these were the first pears that grew on the tree, you have to bring Bikurim, even if the land didn't belong to you whatsoever. Where does Shmuel get this from? Midiktoni Mishnah Seira. The third is extra Mishnah. Why is that? Mechti, let's see. Tonele Vieshloi Karka. In our Mishnah over here in Bobby Bastor, it says that the person who buys 2 trees, Yeshloi Karka, so Mele, this is fully his field, fully his trees, so for sure. Pshita de Mevi Bikurim, obviously he brings Bikurim. Elo Shmamino, since Rav Meir has to tell you again in Bikurim that maybe Bikurim, Mechayev Rav Meir ach beloikeach peres min hashuk. That Rav Meir, when he said, when you buy 2 trees you may be Bikurim, he meant even if you buy from the shuk you may be Bikurim. And not only if you have 2 trees of karka, meaning even if you don't have karka whatsoever, you have to bring Bikurim. On that the Gemara asks, V'oksiv b'churim, the psukim, when you say Bikurim, it says, Asher tovi ma'arzacha, that you bring from your land. This is not your land, you bought it in the market. So the Gemara, that pasuk is coming to exclude not from, you don't bring Bikurim from Chutz La'aretz, but it doesn't mean that the land needs to be yours. Correct the Gemara, V'oksiv ad moscha, on the psukim of Bikurim it says your land. So the Gemara Limuti, that's coming to exclude ad masakum, that if the land becomes to go, you don't bring Bikurim. But it doesn't have to be that the land owns you. The main thing that's from Eretz Yisrael, and it belongs to a Jewish person, even if it doesn't belong to you have to bring Bikurim. Frak the Gemara V'aksiv, it's telling the psukim of Bikurim, Asher Nosatoli, that he gave me. V'chor, that means the land he gave me. He said the Gemara, no, Rav Meir learns, the Aves Lizuzi, Hashem, you gave me money. With that money, I bought this fruit. Therefore, I'm bringing Bikurim. It doesn't mean that the land belongs to me. Tell the Gemara on this Akasha, Mosiv Rabba, I have a Kasha, it says in the Brisa, Koine Ilon Echol B'Tosh Kaveroi, someone who buys one tree in the field of his friend, maybe Ve'enoi Kore. He brings Bikurim, but you don't read the Psukim. Lefi Sheloi Kona Karka, because the Karka doesn't belong to him. And who is this Brisa? Divrei Mea, clearly in the Brisa it says that if the Karka does not belong to you, you may be Ve'enoi Kore. How could you tell me that even if you buy from the Shuk, you may be Ve'Kore? So the Gemara Tiyufta, it's a kasha on Shmuel, and we do have a teretz on this. And the Torah Shittas Rameh is only when you have karka you can bring bikurim and bikurim. Amali Rab Shimon ben Elyokim le Rab Elazar. Rab Shimon ben Elyokim asked Rab Elazar, Pei Aleph Amud Beis, my time de Rameh beilun echot. What's pshat Rameh by two ilonos we understand the land belongs to you, so therefore maybe bikurim. But by one tree, the land doesn't belong to you, so why maybe? If you don't have to read, that means it's not chayv bikurim, so why maybe? My time the Rabbanon b'shnei ilonos, and the same question, Rabbanon by two ilonos that told you're not koine karka, so why do you bring the bikurim? Omalon, so he answered to him, Dovar sharishonim lo amudutam, something that the Rishonim, the Tanoim never explained. Tishaleni bebeis hamedrash, you're asking me in beis hamedrash in front of everyone, kedeli vaysheni, to embarrass me? I don't know, the Rishonim, the Tanoim never explained. You want me to explain? So Rabba was there, and Omar Rabba, my kosher, what's the big deal? I'll tell you. Dilma, I'll explain you pshat in Rameh and Chacham. Dilma Rameh beilan echot, when you buy one tree, sfukim esapkilon. It's a suffix. Are you koine karka or not? So therefore, le'inyin mekachumem kara, the moicha is muchzik, so you know moitzi miat muchzik. But le'inyin isurim of bikurim, you have to bring misofik. Rabbanon b'shnei ilonos sfukim misapkilo. And the same suffix of Rameh in one tree, Rabbanon having two trees. Asa gemara mu misapkile, is there a suffix? V'okatoni, it says clearly, lefi sheloi kano karka divrei Rameh. The reason why you don't koire because sheloi kano karka. How can you tell me to suffix? On that the Gemara answers, Eima, let's explain, shema loi kano karka. Maybe you're not koine karka, it's a suffix, and therefore by mekach umemka we leave it by the muchzik, and by isurim yichayev. Correct the Gemara of Aleichush Dilma Bikurim Nunu. Maybe really when you koine one ilon or two ilon if you're a bonon, you're not koine karka, and therefore it's not bikurim. The Kumayin Chulin Lazora, you're not allowed. The Rashbam explains if you want to try to bring Chulin Lazora, only something that's Kodesh you're allowed to bring in Azora. How are you going to bring this bikurim to Beis Hamikdash that's a suffix not Kodesh? So the Gemara de Makdishlu, he says if they bikurim very good, and if not, I'm making them Kodesh, and then you're allowed to bring them to the Azora. Correct the Gemara of our boy Mechlinu. The kohen, normally you give the bikurim to the kohen and he eats it. If you're going to give it to the kohen and he's going to eat it, alatzata, it's not bikurim and it's kodesh. A kohen's not allowed to eat something that belongs to Bedek Habayis. So the Gemara the Paraklu, he brings it to his Beis Hamikdash, he does bikurim, and then he's poider it and he gives it to the kohen. So if it's chulin, the kohen's allowed to eat it. If it's bikurim's allowed to eat it, and with the money that he's poider, he uses it for Bedek Habayis. Said more of a dilma la bikurim ninu. Maybe really it's not bikurim because really the karka doesn't belong to him. Because mafkilu b'trumo u'maisa. Because bikurim is not chayv b'trumo u'maisa, and chulin is chayv b'trumo u'maisa. And here he's stealing from trumo u'maisa. Said more the mafrishlo. He takes trumo u'maisa. It's alatzada. It's chulin. Said more bishlei a trumo gdoila. Very good trumo gdoila. The first trumo you give yoiv leila kohen, and he gives it to the kohen. Mimon of shach. It's bikurim or it's truma. The kohen could eat it. Also, Maisa Sheni that the Levi gives back to the kohen. Nam yoiv le kohen. He give it to the kohen and mimon of shach. Oitz Maisa Sheni, oitz bikurim, and the kohen's allowed to eat it. Maisa Oni Nami, I have a solution. Yoiv le kohen Oni. Give it to a kohen who's poor and mimon of shach. Or he's bikurim, or he's Maisa Oni, and no problem. Elo Maisa Rishon de Levi who leman yoiv. A Levi is not allowed to eat bikurim. So if you give it to the kohen, maybe it's maisa that belongs to Levi. If you give it to the Levi, maybe it's bikurim that belongs to the kohen. What are you going to do? Leman yaevle said the Gemara the yaevle le kohen. No, you can give it to the kohen, and it goes lefish shitas kerabeloza ben Azariah. The Tanya truma gdoila le kohen. We learned in the Brisa that truma gdoila belongs to the kohen. Maisa rishon levi divrei Rabbi Akiva. Like we always know. Comes Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and says, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah oimer, Meiser Rishon la Kohen, even the Meiser Rishon goes la Kohen, and the Rashbam explained that after Ezra gave a knas to the Kohen, to the Levim, because he never came back from Babel to Israel, and he gave Meiser Levi, Meiser, that normally goes to the Levi, to the Kohen, and therefore you give it to the Kohen, and there's no problem. Said the Gemara, we still have an issue. V'dilma bikurim ninu v'boru kriya. You said maybe v'oni koreh. Alatzada it's bikurim. You need to be koreh the psukim. So how could you be maybe very nekora? So the Gemara kriya loy ma'keves. If you bring bikurim and you don't read the psukim that you normally say when you bring bikurim, it's not ma'akev. So the Gemara v'loy, is that true? V'omar Rab Zeira kol haroy lebila ein bila ma'keves boy v'she'ein roy lebila bila ma'keves boy. So this is a famous thing, and it means that there is a din that if someone wants to bring a mincha of shishim isarin, that's a big amount, so you could bring it all in one keli because it mixes well with one amount of oil. It mixes 60 could mix nicely with one loig of shemen. But if you bring more than 60, 61, so you could bring 60 in one keli and another one in another keli. And we ask, what's the problem? We know even though that you need to mix it to do bila is not ma'akev, so what's the problem? And on that, the chiddush is, that's a chiddush in the whole shas of Rab Zeira, that kol haroy bila, if it's possible to do bila, then you don't need to do bila in bila ma'akeves. But if it's in a situation where you can't do bila when it's in a keli of 61, that's too much to do bila, then bila ma'akeves. So also here, since you can't do kriya, it should be ma'akev, and therefore we have a problem. How could you be maybe ve'ena koire, even though that normally if you didn't koire, it's no problem. But here you can't be koire, so it should be a problem. So the Gemara, the Ovid lo kerab Yosi bar Chanina. We have a solution, a way that you bring bikurim and you're not meant to be koire. What's the case? The Omar that he said, bitron, if someone cut the produce off the tree, and then he didn't take it to Yerushalayim to bring bikurim, he gave it to a shliach to take it to Yerushalayim, and the shliach goes to Yerushalayim. Or another case, the second case is that the shliach cut off the tree for the landlord, and then he went to Yerushalayim to take it, and he died on the way. So we have here two situations where the person who cut off the tree and the one who took it to Yerushalayim is not the same person. Maybe ve'ena koire, you bring the bikurim and you don't read the psukim. My time and what the reason tichsiv, it says in the pasuk v'lokachto ve'iveiso, that the one who takes off the tree, it's a miyuta, the pasuk, the word v'lokachta, he's the one who has to bring it. And we learned that that the taking off the tree and bringing it has to be by the same person. And since the shliach who cut it died on the way, or the balabais cut it and then gave you a shliach, it's not the same person. So therefore, maybe b'kurah. So therefore, the way in our case where we have a suffix, if you're a mayor by one tree, if you're a bonon by two trees, the solution is you bring it. You give it to a shliach, you cut off the tree, and then you give it to a shliach, and therefore you anyway don't need to be kura, and therefore it's not ma'akev. Omale Rav Acha, brother of Avi Rav Ashi, Rav Acha, brother of Avi told Rav Ashi, Mechti, let's look, psukininu, likri, what's the problem? When someone brings bikurim, all he needs to do is say some psukim that say in the Torah. Is there a problem to read this psukim? I'm reading it, and if it's good bikurim, so it's for bikurim, and if no, I'm just reading psukim. He answered him, it looks like a lie. Because you're coming with fruit to Beis HaMikdash, and if it's not, and you're saying Adom Hashem Satoli, and you have fruit over here, and maybe the land doesn't belong to you, so it looks like a lie. That's why you're not allowed to read this psukim with these fruit in the Beis HaMikdash. Rav Mesharshi, brother of Chia, on a different teretz, still ma'asil afkinu mitruma v'maisa. Someone who's going to see this, he's going to see he brings these fruit to Beis HaMikdash. He sees that he reads the psukim. He says, "Oh, it's proper bikurim. When I have one tree in my house, lefira mea, or two trees lefira bonon, I'll also bring them and read, and I won't give truma or maisa because he thinks it's proper bikurim. He doesn't realize that it's alasofik. But if you tell him that you don't read the psukim, then he realizes, oh, this is a funny situation, and then he realizes that it's a funny situation, and he'll find out that you need to give truvos maisros misofik." Thank you very much.